Jack, you said you had a long Monday, huh? Long day at work?
Long, busy day.
Well,
good day, though. Productive.
Day? Okay, that's
productive.
Good. At least you're upbeat about it.
I'd rather be really busy than not have anything to do. So
I'm with you on that. And I actually don't think a Monday is the worst day to be busy, to be totally honest with you.
No, it's great.
I think I'd rather have a busy Monday than a busy Friday.
Definitely. 100%. You just get thrown into it, and it's the work week.
You just
and you get ripping.
Gets the week moving faster, too.
Agreed.
I was going to say to you, if it was a bad day, that it could have been worse. And you know why? Because the Lions won on Sunday again, baby.
That's right.
Hey, that's five.
That's five.
That's five, boys. Come on.
That's five.
If you guys are not following Dan Campbell and the Lions on Instagram, that's content you need to be looking at every week. That'll get you so fired up for your Monday.
So jacked.
If you're not up for Monday, you watch Dan Campbell's post-game Lions win speech, you'll be ready for your week.
Yes.
Guaranteed.
So jacked.
Whether you're a Lions fan or not. I guess if you're the losing teams fan, like if you're a Buccaneers fan,
if you're just
maybe
a
don't watch
fan
that.
of motivation.
Yes.
Like, watch it. Yeah.
Although I do have a bone to pick with Eagles fans, Philadelphia Eagles fans, that is, because I picked them in Survivor and they lost to the Jets, so that stunk.
Yikes.
Bigger things at play. Wiffle ball, of course, is our bread and butter. We love to sprinkle our NFL here in the beginning of these podcasts, but what a series. One for the ages, the ALDS between the Preds and the Wildcats. We're going to break the whole thing down for you guys. We'll get Ryan Kratch on the phone as well to hear his 2 cents about the series. And going to give you guys some good stats, play a little fact or fiction, comment of the week, fun fact, all that good stuff. And without further ado, this is the Pipe It Up Podcast. Cue the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pipe It Up Podcast, the official podcast of MLW Wiffle Ball. And what a series, folks. What an absolute battle.
Always is. Wildcats, Preds.
But, I mean, the Preds have kind of dominated that one as of late. So I didn't expect it to be that close. I was hoping it would be, but that kind of caught me off guard a little bit.
I don't know. They have dominated, like, as far as their wins, but I feel like the Wildcats...
Postseason's a little different.
The postseason's different.
Last year they just crushed them.
Yeah,
last year it was no contest. It was pure Preds from start to finish, 2-game sweep. And this year the Cats definitely had, I think, a little bit of an extra chip on their shoulder.
They definitely did.
I knew they'd come out a little feisty. I could see it in them. Like I said, they actually wanted, or at least Kyle actually wanted to play the Preds, despite how bad they have been against them in recent history. Mm-hmm. He wanted the Preds. So
it's kind of like we talked about last podcast with Dallas, pitching to Jimmy, right? He wanted to be the one to defeat him. I think Kyle's probably taken a similar mindset in that he didn't want to have the backdoor way, to the World Series. Like he wanted to have to go through the Predators. So
yeah, I respect that. I respect that a lot. But just an absolute incredible series from start to finish. We've never had a postseason series where every single game ended in a walk-off home run before. Not sure we ever will again. I mean, dude, that's crazy.
Kind of surprising.
You can't script that. You really can't script that.
Well, I guess walk off home run. That's pretty incredible.
That's very incredible, dude.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? 3 different players too.
Yeah.
Warda, Liam, Ryan. So just unbelievable series from start to finish. We'll break it all down for you guys today, give our opinions on it, and then Ryan Kratch will jump on the line as well, and we'll give him a quick interview. We'll put him on the line, and we'll put him on the line, and he'll get on here. So let's get into game one.
All right.
You ready? Is that too quick? Or are we good?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Break it down.
Game one. So Schultz versus Kratch on the mound.
Yep.
Now, Kyle did not start the first game against the Preds in the regular season. So I wasn't quite sure he would be the one to start, but I think they did get swept in the regular season by the Preds. Mm-hmm. So I think he just wanted to take the ball into his own hands. He was out there grinding. He practiced a little bit beforehand, mixed in some different pitches, some different arm slots, trying to impersonate a guy like Ryan, a guy like Jimmy. So he pitched well. Yeah,
I think similar to what we talked about last podcast with Jimmy putting himself back out on the mound again. Mm-hmm. Kyle, I feel like, has just been around for so long. It's probably tough for him in this situation, like knowing what's at stake to not go out there, and because he feels like he has what it takes to win. And I mean, ultimately he did, other than one swing. So obviously didn't get a ton of help from his offense in that game, but
correct.
He wanted to put himself out there. So.
Yeah, I think he really wanted this one. And speaking of offense and not getting any help, though, but I will say, starting right off the bat, lead off at bat, Kyle really had a great day at the plate. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to talk to you guys about it. You may have noticed it, you may have not. It's apparent if you're looking for it, but if you're not looking for it, you might not have noticed. But Kyle did really change his approach
as
a hitter
You tell with his
series.
elbow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he really had his hands kind of out over the heart of the plate, very much like Jordan Robles does. And I think he was studying Robles and looking at just how quickly Jordan can get to the ball.
Yes.
And I think he watched some film back and just realized how long all of the Wildcats swings were and why they were swinging and missing so much. So that was a change he made a couple weeks before this series was played, a week or two, and they had a couple practices as a team. And I think he actually encouraged their entire roster to do that. They the 4 that were there that day practiced together, and I think he wanted everyone to kind of make that change to really just get the bat in a position to just get quick to the ball, just put balls in play and put pressure on the Preds defense. So
yeah,
he did a great job. He had a really good series, and like I said, he led off the game with a single, and I was like, oh, maybe he's going to go off today because I could tell his approach, and he looked very confident, I could tell.
It was like clockwork. It was like every time he went up there, it was like, blooper over to third, I'll take my base, single.
Yeah.
But I mean, it makes sense. They all, with maybe the exception of Kyle and Liam. Liam is generally, I would say, pretty quick to the ball with his swing, and we'll obviously get to him later. But Jackson and Nick especially kind of have, I guess, longer swings, you could say. Like,
they got some power swings.
They got some power swings. They both kind of have that sort of sliding footwork, I guess. I don't really know what to call that, but it's like, Rudy does it. I guess the baseball players seem to kind of do it a lot.
A little bit more foot movement.
Where their back foot kind of slides and they're really swinging power through. So it makes sense that they tried to make that adjustment. I definitely tried to make that adjustment in the second half of the year, and I think it helped me. So sometimes when you're in a little bit of a slump, using that thought process of like short to the ball can kind of help when pitches are getting on you a little bit.
Yeah, so it really paid off for Kyle. A couple hits in that first game, including a home run. His home run tied the game at 1-1 because Russell got into one.
We're just classic random bomb from Russ.
Well, dude, like I said, I told you guys the Preds are a mental team, and Russell and Ward are just so confident. Specifically, those two are the mental guys when it comes to wiffle ball because they have no baseball background. They have nothing.
Right.
All they know is wiffle ball.
Right.
And those two are up and down. They're up and down, and those two are up when it comes to Kyle just going into the game. So in that first inning, Russell homered and then Ward singled right off the bat. And I was like, yep, these are the Preds that the Wildcats hate.
Yeah, when those guys are supporting, man, it's a tough team.
It is.
To stop.
That's why Jim said they're dangerous. I mean, we all said that because we knew that once they're in, when that team gets momentum building, they're tough outs, that whole lineup.
I mean,
especially with Rudy starting to get a little warmer coming into the series.
It's really impressive, like what Kyle's been able to do this year against the Wildcats for sure. And he's obviously the heart of that team. But at the same time, it's like Russell and Ward kind of control ultimately what that team does. You know what I mean? It's like their performance really dictates like their full confidence, because it's like if Russell's not having a good day or Alex not having a good day and they don't have their energy up, like it shows for sure. Yeah. And Kratch's play can only go so far. So those guys, like when they're firing, very lethal team, very
lethal. Lethal is a good word.
Yeah.
And so, yes, the Preds did win this one. Walk-off home run from Warda. Once again, just so confident against Kyle. He got under a riser there, I think, in the bottom of the third. And it was kind of a no-doubter off the bat. I wasn't sure at first if it had the distance. I knew he hit it hard enough. But it carried on out of there. So
I would want to I wish, like, I could just ask Kyle why he even threw that pitch to Warda, because in my very knowledgeable and experienced pitching background, I wouldn't just never throw that pitch to Alec, because it's like I feel like all of Alec's home runs off of Kyle have come from literally that exact same pitch.
I think sometimes you can almost
so many times.
Sometimes you can almost psych yourself out of like doing what you shouldn't do. It's like, okay, I've thrown so many drop balls, I better mix in a riser there. But maybe the whole time he was just waiting for the riser. You know what I mean?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, Alec knows that. Alec knows he likes that pitch.
So I think
we literally had him one year. Kyle in the home run derby came out and was like throwing risers to Alec. Do you remember that? Because it's like that's all he could hit.
But so yeah, Warda gets a homer off Kyle. Russell and Warda are the two sluggers of the day. But Ryan overall threw well. The one homer to Kyle. Kyle hit well. Credit to Schultz, though, on the mound. He held Kratch to 0-for-3. Ryan was hitless in the first game.
Very tough to do.
So once again, the Preds.
Especially when they...
You know Ryan will throw good.
Yeah.
And usually he'll hit good, too, when he has help from his other guys.
But for him, but for Kyle to put that graphic and those stats before the game of Ryan's success against the Wildcats in whatever many of the last series it's been that he took those stats from, and then to go 0 for 3, that's huge.
Yeah, I was impressed, and I kind of knew, like I said, coming into it, I had a feeling Kyle was going to play really well just because he seemed, just like how I mentioned, I think it was in our Philadelphia podcast when I was up north in my red, white, and blue, when we were doing it remotely, and I mentioned how I made some small adjustment at the end of a practice before the Philly series, and that just gave me like a mental, like, oh, I think that was the problem.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't, but just like the fact that I thought I figured it out gives you confidence.
Definitely.
And I think Kyle making that change with his hands was the same way, and I could kind of tell he knew he had it figured out.
For sure, yeah.
So I kind of knew he'd do well at the plate. Pitching was impressive. He got really crafty. He mixed in a lot of underhand stuff, a lot of overhand stuff. He was changing his timing. He was mixing in like a two-seam fastball, which I've never seen him do before. So it wasn't, not saying it was fantastic, but just even showing that can sometimes get in guys' minds a little bit. So it was an impressive performance for sure.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate they lost that first game because I think that really was kind of the difference in hindsight,
Yeah.
As he threw well enough to win, and he had to put a good swing on a ball. Unfortunately, there was nobody on base for him. So
right. Yeah.
Is what it is. But let's move right along into game 2 now. Schultz threw well, but they do turn to Pearson in game 2. I think I like that move.
I do too. I think I don't even know if you could really say one way or the other who's been their ace this year. I'd have to look at the stats for who's pitched more games. I would probably guess it's I don't even know, actually. It might be pretty close because I feel like Pearson's gone a number of game
pop them up so you guys
for
can
them.
see. It had to be pretty comparable. I'm sure different guys led different categories in those two. What comes like strikeouts, walks, ERA, whip, that kind of thing.
And
I'll pop it up.
Pearson's had an up and down year, but I think he's really like put in a lot of work into his arsenal and just like his consistency. And I like the move too. I like the move too from Kyle.
Yeah, I think it was smart, and Pearson did throw well. It went to extra 0-0. So Ryan's still dominating. Pearson throwing really well. Russell and Warda looked totally lost against Pearson.
Yeah, they
compared
did.
to Kyle. They're so much more comfortable seeing Kyle.
Yeah, they've seen him so much more. Pearson's got this. It's just interesting how many different versions of a similar type of pitch like there are in this league. Like
his favorite type of pitcher to face.
His straight drop ball that. I mean, it really just looks like it's just going to like drop into the zone and it drops so late. And that got Russell and I think Warda too, like a fair amount of times. And that's a pitch like that would get me too. I feel like I've swung at those a lot too. Like those ones are tough to lay off because you also saw him strike out a couple people looking where it's like it pings the bottom pipe. Like
he drops
just
it
nicks
in there.
it. Yeah.
I faced him earlier this season and I did not have a lot of success at all. And like you said, how he has a different variation of that drop ball, even though other guys have it. His is different. His too was just inconsistent. It was almost like he didn't know where it was going. Effectively wild type thing. So I was just
How were you supposed to know?
I couldn't. He wasn't throwing me any slider, so I couldn't sit slider. And I was trying to sit on this drop ball, but like I would swing and a miss at a pitch that like all of a sudden dipped outside. And then I'd think the same thing was coming again with 2 strikes, and it would just drop straight into the zone. And I'm like, it's just really hard for me to time. So I could see why those two struggled, but Ryan did put some bat on the ball. But of course, the headline of game 2. Extra innings, we go to the bottom of the 4th in a 0-0 ball game. And interesting how this played out. So you guys might not have remembered this. People are going to remember the Liam home run, of course. But prior to that, the at-bat prior was Jackson Pearson up with 2 outs. He hits a little dribbler. I don't know if you remember this, Jack. There was a dribbler hit to the right side, the at-bat before, that Warda had a shot at first base. He was one of those plays where pretty much he fields it cleanly, he's stepping on the bag, innings over, we're going to the 5th.
Yeah.
But he started moving his feet before he made the play. Ball ended up rolling past him in right field, extends the inning to Liam, and then the very next pitch is the Liam little jam shot off the foul pole. Mayhem at the Meadows.
Great call.
So I wanted to talk about this because I cannot remember when it was, Jack. It was early this season when we were talking about announcing. It may have even been in the off season when we had Kyle on the show. Talking about, like, do you premeditate calls?
I remember that.
Calls? Well, and I said on that show, like, I do have a call that I think would be sick in the right moment. And it was the Mayhem at the Meadows
that was the call?
saying. But I wasn't like I had that ready for Liam's home run. Like, that was the first pitch of the at-bat. I hadn't even, like, premeditated any sort of hype call if it would be a home run. It just, like, it hit me. Like, I should say it right now. So it came out smooth. One taked it. But yeah, I think that was pretty electric.
Wow, so that was the first pitch of the at-bat?
I think so, yeah.
Dang, man. That was the most, that was like such a Liam Jackson home run for just like the jam shot right off the foul pole. But he just gets it done, man. He gets it done.
So sick. I was so, Because balls like that don't really have that sound off the bat, that sort of just flares into the outfield. I thought it was going to be foul. I couldn't tell. I thought it might be caught. Then I just saw it dink, and I'm like, oh my God, the game's over.
So
like,
perfectly.
Yeah,
it dinked.
So electric. And just so happy for Liam. Not a better guy it could have happened to, I feel like.
I
he's
think
been putting in his
too.
time. He's been coming out to the Meadows this year. He lives far away now, commuting up from Ohio. Hitting in that 4 spot in the lineup, kind of battling with Ty for that 4 spot. And for him to get a home run in a postseason game, an elimination game at that, just how electric.
I mean, I will say, obviously, having known Liam and having played with him, I was really happy to see him do that and perform that way because ultimately, it wasn't his play or anything really that, caused us being the Magic to move on from him. It was really just what we needed at that time. And the trade made sense for us at the time, to go through with that. And again, like it was nothing against Liam. And I think this series showed why Kyle, I mean, I think he even put the clip in there, like the quote was like, that's why you're on the Cats or something like that. Like, this is exactly why Kyle went out and got Liam, arguably the best 4-man guy in the lineup.
Definitely
have to run those numbies, but his average is up there this year.
He's definitely an OBP guy. He'll get on base for you, and he'll grind out ABs. He's not a guy that mentally will get down and just be striking out and like auto out type guy. Yeah. Even if he is striking out, he's a guy who will give you his best, and he'll go pitch by pitch, and he'll really take each at bat very seriously. I'll say this: I'm not going to say that like, oh, Liam's a better player than RJ, because that's kind of what the trade ended up being. Yeah. RJ turned out so good. I mean, you guys, I'd say, won the trade.
They're totally different players.
Objectively speaking, you guys won the trade.
I would say so.
Right? Does that mean non-bias?
Yeah.
Okay. Objective?
Objective would be the opposite of subjective.
Subjective
which would mean
is
that
my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I used it right.
Yeah.
All right. That's your vocab lesson for the week, guys. Objective is non-bias. So objectively, you guys won the trade. RJ's been phenomenal. Okay.
Yeah.
Not saying Liam's RJ, but it was very poetic for Liam to step up in the playoffs and hit a home run, just to kind of silence people that have been talking bad about that trade and maybe saying Liam's washed, shouldn't be playing, whatever. I haven't seen too much stuff there. I'm not really hunting for it either, but I'm sure there's been some Cats fans like, we could have RJ type thing.
Yeah.
So very happy for Liam, and I hope the Cats fans appreciated that moment and experienced it as electric as it actually was in person, because that was cool.
I mean, I think, obviously hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
If RJ was on the Wildcats, would the Wildcats be a better team than they are now? I think probably, but I don't know. It's like
I said, I gave you my thoughts. It's
difficult because RJ was not expected to do what he's done this year.
That's why he went number 3 and not number 1.
But. Yeah, he was not expected to do that and has outperformed, which is incredible. So, I mean, if RJ came in and was a solid number 2
I
arm.
could have RJ. I could have got him at number 2.
Yeah.
I took Preston as the young guy. I could have been RJ. I love you, Preston. Not talking bad about you. But I'm just saying, that just shows you, like, anything can happen.
But, like, the hypothetical of, if he was, like, a solid, average number 2 arm.
Yeah.
Would you say that, like, we won the trade? It'd probably be
I would say
even.
You won the trade, Jack.
Now. But I'm saying, like, if he was we, like, would have expected. You know what I'm saying? Like... with how Liam has performed this year, if RJ was more of an average pitcher, number kind of our number 2 guy, I feel like it's pretty even. Pretty
even, because I think Kyle was banking on and knowing that Jackson threw pretty good last year in his limited opportunities, and that Jackson wanted to get more involved in the pitching game.
Right.
So that's why he didn't want the arm.
Right. He didn't. Yeah, because that would ultimately mean that he probably
wouldn't be used. Yeah. I don't think. Pitch. To be honest, if the Cats did draft RJ, I'm not sure RJ would have got that much playing time this year, which is crazy because now he's like the ace of the league. But I'm just telling you how
That's
it is.
True.
Like you needed a number 2 pitcher, so and now he's your number 1. Like just things happen. So
yeah.
Anyways, hindsight of the story, or moral of the story, I should say, is Liam. Round of applause for you, sir. Awesome moment. Did a little bit of digging. I know, like I said, the stats on MLW aren't like one Google search away. I had to do a little bit of digging, but. I believe that was Liam's first home run since June 30th of 2021. That was against the Gators. So 795 days had passed.
Wow.
Since the last Liam Jackson home run. And on top of that, that was the Wildcats' first win against the Preds since game 2 of last year's regular season matchup against them. So they had lost 7 in a row up until that point.
That's crazy,
and how'd they break that 7-game losing streak against the Preds with a guy who hadn't homered in almost 3 years in the calendar going yard? I mean, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
That's why you play the games, folks.
That is why you play the games.
That's why you play the games.
But we should also give the nod to Pearson. The two Jacksons combined for
Jackson and Jackson.
a heck of a game.
It's confusing as an announcer too, because
it's very confusing.
You guys are probably like, who's he talking about? But,
you should put the outtake in there of what happened.
Oh, me and you, yeah. Well, yeah, I will. I'll pop it up right now.
It was bad.
Russell and Ward looked lost against Jackson.
What do you mean? Against Jackson Pearson. Yeah.
Yes.
Every time the Wildcats are so confusing.
Let's back that up.
He had 9 Ks.
Yeah, 9 Ks.
That's pretty impressive.
Pearson, 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 walk, 9 Ks. Great stat line. And just like I said, that it would have been him pitching, not RJ. He was the number 2 guy, and he just stepped up to the plate. Well, stepped to the mound, I should say, and delivered in an elimination game, playoffs. What an outing for Pearson. A great win for the Cats. Like I said, broke the losing streak, sends it to a game 3. Liam steps up. Pearson plays awesome. Like, what a team win.
Love it, yeah.
What
free
team
wiffle
win.
ball. Get some free wiffle ball.
Absolutely some free wiffle ball. Game 3. Winner take all. Second week in a row. You just loved it. You love it so much for the league, for the video.
For the league.
You do.
Great for the brand.
It's great for the brand.
It is great for the brand.
We joke it's scripted. It's not scripted, but of course, me and Kyle are always rooting for game 3s. I mean,
yes.
you have to.
You have to.
It's so much better for the video and for the
It's so
content.
lame when you get to the end of the video. And
It
it's
is.
just
And it's just me and Jack talking like, these two again.
Oh my gosh. They're putting the Pipe It Up podcast
they're plugging the
back
pod.
in.
It's so bad.
Brutal.
So, game 3. Not Jack and I talking. It's game 3. Extra whiffs. Free whiffs. Pearson, back to the bump. Do you like the move?
Yes.
You do?
I do like it. I mean, we just talked about it. He got the win in game 2. 2 hits and a walk. Other than that, was pretty flawless. So I think it makes sense to go back to him. I think like you said before, you could have made the argument to go with him game 1, and ultimately Kyle wanted to go to himself. So I think it makes sense going back to him.
I think so too. I think just because of how well Warda and Russell were seeing Kyle and have seen Kyle.
Yeah.
Those two had really no confidence against Pearson. They looked pretty lost. Even Rudy looked lost. So it was pretty much just Pearson versus Ryan. He was cruising the rest of the way. So keep that in mind. Little what's that called? Foreshadowing. Wow, it's been a long time since I've been in school. Holy moly. Okay, so speaking of foreshadowing, first at bat, Ryan Kratch, leadoff solo home run in the bottom of the first.
Yeah.
So at this point, Kratch was now 3 for 4 against Jackson, including that home run on the day. Everyone else in the squad was a combined 0 for 11. So only Ryan was hitting the ball right now against Jackson.
Just a duel.
He was doing it well.
Just a duel.
Nobody else was contributing. Keep that in mind. Now, I also wanted to note from this game, before we get into the drama late, that in the second inning of this game, Liam Jackson walked. And that was Ryan's first walk of this series. So this is inning number 8 for him. No, inning number 9, because it was extra innings.
It's crazy.
He had faced 31 batters up to that point and had not walked a guy yet. And I don't have the averages on like how many batters per walk there is in this league, or walks per batter in this league, but I'll tell you right now, it ain't 31.
No,
like,
definitely is
that's
not.
crazy.
No way.
He was just going right at guys, so I wanted to point that out to you all as well. And it also is important to this third inning rally. So, Preds lead the game 1-0 going into the third, Jack. Kyle gets a leadoff single, and then Saylor and Pearson both get out. So, the Preds are 1 out away.
Yep.
It's 1-0. Kyle's on second base, 2 outs, and it's Liam up to bat again. And this was, folks, one of the more, probably will be one of the more critical yet forgotten at-bats in the recent history of MLW, in my opinion. Because he was down to his last strike, a considerable amount of pitches. It was 0-2 against Liam. Kyle showed the whole at-bat in the video, which I was happy he did.
Yeah.
So I'm in my head, I'm ready to make my call. Like, Preds win it, they win the series, moving on, blah, blah, blah. And then Liam just battles.
Yes.
Battles all the way back to walk. And I was in disbelief behind the camera. I could not believe that Ryan, no offense to Ryan, but I just couldn't believe he couldn't get him out.
Yeah.
Just based on Liam's season, his day. I was like 0-2 and Liam battles back for a walk. And I just could not believe that. It befuddled me. It really did.
I mean,
Liam
especially after like what you said, how it took him all the way to the 31st.
That's what I'm saying. So that was only the second
walk.
walk of the day at that point. And then gets back up to top of the order, which is huge. Kyle does what he does best. Another single, second of the inning. And then in that at bat for Kyle, too, he was down to his last strike as well. It went to a full count. So between Liam and Kyle, there were 7 different pitches that came to the plate that could have been the strikeout pitch against the Cats. It was 5 to Liam and 2 to Kyle, which is wild. Jeez. They were down to their last strike 7 different times. 7 different pitches, I should say. Not 7 different at-bats. But anyways, wild. That loads the bases, and then Saylor walks to tie it. So Ryan, who hadn't walked a guy all day, has now walked 3 batters in 2 innings, and it allows the Cats to sneak back in.
So I guess in this, when I was watching this, what I was wondering, I guess my question, and maybe we'll get Kratch's feedback on this when he joins us later, but do you think this inning, the activity in this inning was a product of the Cats just having better at bats, or was Kratch like kind of starting to slip in that inning a little bit with his accuracy, I guess?
I think there's probably some fatigue involved. We should ask him, but I know it's just wiffle ball. I know there were some comments discussing about this, how tired you actually get. Like, how does this guy throw so many innings? People are like, oh, they're only throwing 7 miles per hour. It's 38 feet away. It ain't that bad. But just doing that motion for, what is he in now? His 10th inning of the day pitching. I mean, it's a lot of pitches.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pitches. So even though maybe you're not physically feeling it, your body is feeling it. Like, your legs are getting a little tired. You're exhausted, probably a little bit hungry, dehydrated. These things are affecting you. So I'd like to say that
especially because Kratch, he doesn't train at all.
Yeah, not at all. Kid just sits on the couch all day for sure. But so I like to think those things played a factor, as well as, in baseball, when you're the pitcher, especially in the major leagues, of course, you're typically, unless your name's Shohei Ohtani, between innings, you're sitting down, you're putting your jacket on, you're getting a breather, getting some water, and MLW, we're playing fast paced.
Yeah.
And Ryan's in the batting order, and he's on base a lot. So he's not really sitting down and taking a break in between innings. He's playing, we're going on 2.5, 3 hours here at wiffle ball, and he's just going nonstop. So I think probably the body fatigue played a factor in him getting a little wild there late in the game.
Okay.
I will say, behind the camera, I fully expected then for the Wildcats to take the lead. I was surprised that he got out of the jam.
Yeah,
tie game.
I did too.
Props to him.
I did too.
So 1-1 was the score. Then heading to the bottom of the third, Preds had a chance to walk it off. They didn't. Pearson stays in, closes out that inning, sends it to extra innings. Cats don't score in top of the fourth, and then bottom of the fourth. Ryan Kratch takes care of business, hits the bomb. Absolute shot to center field. All of his home runs were hard hit. All of his hits were hard hit, I should say, too. And the discussion for Cats Nation and for everybody watching is, should he have been walked here?
Yeah. This is a tough one. It's tough because I think the competitor in me would relate to the competitor in Jackson and would say, why would we not throw to him? We can get him out. And then on the other side, the statistician in me and the realist in me would say, why in the world would we throw to this guy when it seems like I can't get him out?
Yeah.
I can get everyone else out, but I can't get him out.
I'm with you.
So ultimately, I feel like if I had to pick, I don't know what I would have done in the situation, but I feel like you could probably make a better case to walk him.
Yeah,
in that situation.
I think you could. I will say that in the moment, I didn't have these numbers in front of me, nor was I really aware of it behind the camera. But this is why having a guy like Matt, for example, on my sideline is kind of helpful because he might be paying attention to these sort of things. But I mentioned to you guys that after the Kratch home run, he was 3 for 4, and the rest of the team was 0 for 11. So prior to this at bat, now this is bottom 4, extra innings, game 3, season on the line, series on the line. The stats were Kratch was now 5 for 6 against Pearson with 2 walks on the day. The rest of the squad was 1 for 22.
Yeah.
Knowing that, and had Pearson known that, had Kyle known that, maybe they did. I doubt it. I think he probably would have been walked. Yeah. But those numbers aren't in front of you. You don't have a coaching staff out there with you. You don't have the stats in front of you. They could have asked Mr. Schultz and he could have maybe tallied something up really quick. I don't even recall seeing a discussion. I was going to ask Kyle today and I forgot, but with nobody on, it just seems stupid to walk a guy. But it's wiffle ball. It's not baseball. And with numbers like that, where the other 3 guys were 1 for 22 against Pearson.
I think the bigger case for this situation is just the fact that they already had an out. And you'd like to think that with the rest of the team
you could get 2 out of 3.
Struggling, that you could get 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
I mean, between those 3 guys, but maybe they felt differently. I mean, the stats are one thing. and the final pitch that makes the video is one thing, but maybe Pearson just felt like Rudy was seeing him good too. Like Rudy had that big like foul off, that long strike. That was off Jackson, I think too, right?
Yeah, it was.
I forget if that was game 2 or 3, but I mean, maybe he just felt like it didn't matter, that he was gonna have to beat Kratch at some point anyway. So
I respect it.
I respect it too. I mean, I respect it. It's. I feel like it's easier to lose that way than you putting a guy on and then somehow that ends up coming back to bite you.
Yeah,
I think
that's true. That's true. Hindsight's always 20/20. The competitor in me and the athlete in me loves what Pearson did, but the manager in me and the guy who wants to hold the trophy at the end of the year thinks he should have been walked.
Yeah.
Just calling it how I see it.
It's tough.
Just my opinion. Not saying it's correct. I'm just objectively speaking, I think he should have been walked. But
with the information now.
With the information I have in front of me after my 30 minutes of research today.
Yeah.
Yes, I do believe that Ryan Kratch should have been walked. Does Cats Nation agree with me? I bet you there's a split amongst that fan base. I'm not really sure. I saw some comments about it, like I said. But that homer, that moment, just tops off an incredible series. I've seen a lot of wiffle ball. I've seen a lot of great series. The 2021 World Series comes to mind, but I'm not sure we've had a better best of 3 ever. I'm just being honest. I mean, I don't know all of them off the back of my hand. I would love for the fans to chime in on that in the comment section of the YouTube video here, or on Spotify too. But I can't remember a better 3-game series in this league in terms of a playoff series ever.
Yeah, the walk-offs, the pitching,
dramatic
at bats, some good defensive plays. It was all you could ask for in an MLW postseason.
It really
series.
is, man. I mean, me and Kyle look at each other sometimes and laugh when like these series are wrapped up and it's been a few days. Like, dude, we get so lucky sometimes with the amount of like the content that gets created, because that's just sports, though, right?
Right.
And when you put together a league with this much parity and there's so much heart and passion behind it, and the relationships amongst the players, like it just creates really good games.
Yeah.
And I think it shows through on the camera.
It did for sure in this video.
So I'll give you guys a couple more stats here from the day. Once again, shout out to Kyle for a great day. He went 7 for 12 with a bomb at the plate. Rest of the Cats, 3 for 30. So kind of a tale of two captains here. Ryan and Kyle really carried the offenses. Once again, if you guys didn't hear, it was Kyle 7 for 12 with a homer. Rest of the Cats go 3 for 30 on the day, as well as they were 0 for 10 in Game 3 besides Kyle. So nobody besides Kyle got a hit in the third game. I know Sailor's a fan favorite, loved by many in the MLW community, but probably one of his rougher days in MLW. He was 0 for 10, struck out 9 times, only got on base twice via 2 walks. So
yeah.
You said when you walked in today, when we weren't recording yet, what'd you say? Repeat it for the fans.
Yeah, I mean, what I said is, obviously nothing against Nick, and he's a great player, but in a series like that, like you almost like count on him because you've seen him do it so many times. Mm-hmm. Like in that situation where it's such a close series, like you expect him to get at least one big hit, whether that's like a home run or an RBI or something. Mm-hmm. And he just never got it. It seemed like I don't know if like really his approach was any different than it has been in the past, but he just seemed like he didn't really have all of his confidence there in that series. But yeah, feel for him for sure, because I've been there so many times.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I was just there, like I said, in the end of the regular season for those 2 series. So I will say, though, I could tell, and afterwards, of course, I mentioned how Kyle was trying to instill that short swing in all the guys.
Yeah.
And I don't think Sailor really took to that advice. Not saying it was the wrong move to not, but I think he was just trying to maybe not change anything too drastic before the playoffs, just trusting his old reliable big stroke, but it didn't produce results, unfortunately.
You win some, you lose some.
What can you do? Jack, a little new segment here we wanted to implement from time to time. Little fact or fiction. I got a question for you, or a statement for you I wanted to run by you. Nick Sailor. Is this a fact or a fiction? Nick Sailor has never had a hitless series before outside of this one. He's been in the league since 2020. He's been in the postseason every year since then. So you got 15.
I'm gonna go with that being a fact.
That is a fact. He has never had a hitless series before. He's had a couple.
1 for 1.
He's had a couple. You're 1 for 1. We'll keep track. Add the tally to the board.
Add the tally.
He has had a couple series where there was just been 1 hit, but he's never been blanked for a 3-game series.
So what I just said 15 seconds ago is actually statistically true. You like to think that Nick Saylor would get at least one because he has every other time.
Lock. It was
up until this series, it has been a lock.
It has been a lock. But yeah, hitless day for Saylor. Rounding off the Wildcats, Jackson Pearson, once again, a great showing on the mound. He pitched just over 7 innings in the day, struck out 17, only walked 3 guys, 2 runs. Other side of the ball, Kratch threw over 10 innings. He pitched every inning, of course. We knew he would. Me, you, and Jimmy joked about it. He struck out 28 guys, 4 walks, 4 runs. And at the plate, Ryan goes 6 for 10, 2 bombs. Does this put Ryan in front of the MVP race?
It has to.
You think so?
It has to, yeah. Oh, in the front, you're saying?
In the front, yeah.
In the front,
I think
he's up there. He's top 2. He's definitely top 2. And I don't know if he's 2.
I do think that we haven't seen Jordan yet in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So we got to give Robles a shot still. I think coming into the postseason, I would have put Robles as the front runner.
Yeah.
But Ryan has looked very, very good in the second half of the season and in the postseason so far. So
I mean,
he's definitely making it a race.
It's tough to deny him being up there when, like, just what you said, it's like he's doing all that he's doing at the plate, and it's also never even a doubt that he's going to go all 3 games on the mound too.
Yeah, he's a horseman.
He is the, by definition, like, most valuable player. Like, if the Preds did not have him, they would be
You're always
so
bringing up
screwed.
the definition for me. You always remind me of that. Who is the actual most valuable, Tom?
He's the most valuable.
He's very valuable. I don't know. Robles is pretty valuable to me, Jack. He's pretty valuable to me.
I feel like...
Is he the most valuable?
I feel like I think what the Mallards would lose if they lost Robles would be not as much as the Predators if they lost Kratch. And so...
Very fair argument.
That's what,
You made the same argument last year in regards to Norp when Norp didn't win. I think you were in the category that thought Norp should have won last year.
Yes.
And now you're making the same argument for the guy that you think stole it from him, being Ryan Kratch.
Correct.
Okay. I like that. Well, the Preds advance to their second straight ALCS, once again defeating the Cats. They will play Jack's Magic in 2 weeks. Of course, this Friday is the NLCS. That one's Mallards versus Eagles. But now we got Ryan Kratch joining us on the phone. Let's get him in this call right now. All right, Ryan Kratch, how we doing? The man of the hour.
Good, Tom. It's good to see you guys.
It's good to see you too. It's good to see that muzzy of yours. What's that thing on your upper lip, man? What's the logic there? Why muzzy now?
We're in this. It's called the Maroon and Cream World Series for where I play baseball up here at Alma, and just been a theme of ours to have the captains, the seniors, grow out some muzzies for it. So that's what's going on.
Okay. Now, if you make it to the World Series, you leave in the stash. MLW World Series, that is.
Probably not. I think it would mess with the mojo.
Okay. Just a baseball thing, not a wiffle ball thing.
Yeah, just a baseball thing, yeah.
Got it. All right. Well, Ryan, a couple questions here for you today. We'll go rapid fire. I think this is rhetorical, but I want to ask you just to make sure. Was there ever a scenario here where you weren't going to pitch all 3 games in this series? Was there a shot McGlade would get the ball?
Yeah, definitely. I told him...
Liar.
I told him going in because
you won't pitch him against the Magic. You won't.
him and I live together. I told him. I said, obviously I'm going to start and I'm going to go. But if I start to get touched up a little bit, or if I go out there and I just can't find the zone, I want you to be ready to go. Plus, he provides a lot of leadership on the sidelines with Warda and Russell, just talking approach with them. So he's a key piece to the process for sure.
Good glue guy.
Yeah, very much.
Good.
Morale.
Do you think we can expect a similar approach going into the next series against us?
Yeah. I mean, the first time we faced you guys, Steve and I both got touched up pretty well. So it's going to be a lot of new stuff that you guys haven't seen before. So you could see McGlade, you could not. But, I mean, we got to do something different. So maybe.
Wow, he's not giving away anything. Well, hey, we'll Ryan, I gotta say, be careful here because Jack's a guy who will fish some information out of you, like he did to Trey.
Nah. Shout out Trey.
We got some flack for that on the internet. Did you see that? There was some salty comment like, "I can't believe this grown man's gonna trick this young kid into giving him."
Yeah, they made me seem like a criminal.
I know. Was like, it's all good fun, guys.
Trey thought it was hilarious.
I know, he did. I saw in the clip beforehand, he sent me laughing emojis, and he put it on his own story.
I know, yeah.
But anyway,
he was a good sport about it.
Can't please anybody. Can't please everybody. But
no.
Also wanted to ask you about your performance at the plate, Ryan. You're crushing the ball right now. You're throwing it well, of course, but you're also mashing. Is there anything you want to give to the fans about your approach to the plate? Why are you mashing so much right now? I mean, it's nothing new for you, but this series, man, 6 for 10, 2 bombs, that ain't too shabby.
I mean, the approach with the Wildcats over the years has kind of become more elaborate. I've known more about them as I've gone on, obviously. So I've faced Kyle probably over 300 times in my career now. So I know his repertoire pretty much entirely, and he knows mine. A lot of respect to Kyle and Pearson because they came out there kind of looking completely different than what I had seen before, and you kind of seen that in the first game of the series where I kind of struggled against Kyle. But the approach with them has kind of always just been, let them pitch to me before I start attacking them. So it worked out for me in the series, and it's kind of something that really is just only pertains to the Wildcats. Is they're probably the pitchers I know the best in the MLW.
So it's like a don't shoot till you see the whites of their eyes type situation.
Right.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
So you mentioned that Schultz, knows your arsenal really well as you do his. What else makes him such a tough out?
I mean, everything about him. Kyle adapts very well, especially at the plate. This series compared to the past few times that I played him he just looked like a completely different hitter at the plate. So, you guys notice like his stance where he's far off the plate or something like that. He kind of adapted that a little bit, and he's, at least in my eyes, he looks a little bit closer. He understands that I'm trying to go for an outside corner pitch. So he goes and he sits with that and he tries to drive it the other way like he should. And Kyle is a tough out regardless, but especially when you have to face him for, what ended up being the 6th game that I had faced him this year, it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ryan. So we obviously we touched a little bit on you playing baseball in college. How is wiffle ball? How does it compare pitching wise? Like, does one sort of mess up the other one? Do they complement each other? We were actually complimenting, your training and your endurance earlier on the podcast.
Yeah, right. Stamina is remarkable out there.
Your stamina is really good, and we know you train all the time. But, So yeah. Just any comment on that?
I mean, they don't really compare. Confidence wise in wiffle ball, I'm just a completely different player, obviously,
So you're not throwing no looks on the baseball diamond.
God, no. I couldn't.
I thought you would have.
Yeah, I had a time one of my coaches
you should
asked
just
me,
try once.
Have you ever thought about it?
I haven't, and I don't think I ever.
Now's the time. Maroon versus Cream World Series. Muzzy,
no,
go for it.
I don't think I could. I had a time. I threw a pretty rough outing once here at Alma, and my coach asked me, he's like, why don't you treat this like you treat wiffle ball? Like, why don't you have the same confidence level? And I was like, well,
that's a
if I was
punch.
as good at baseball as I was wiffle ball, I probably wouldn't be playing here in Division III. So,
wow, wow. So jabs being exchanged.
It's not hate. No hate on the Scots. I mean, it's all love to this team. It's just right.
All right. I wanted to ask you two. Interesting question here. When a guy like Liam takes you deep, sends it to game 3, does that bother you or like tickle you the wrong way compared to a guy like Kyle or Sailor, like a traditional power hitter in this league, taking you deep? Or like, what do you do there? How do you feel?
Definitely, all respect to Liam. He's a good hitter. I've never actually thought anything bad about him as a person, and definitely as a player. He's a good hitter, and he's always been able to stay with me. So when he took me deep, yes, I was shocked because he just like hadn't been showing that in the series, at least from what I saw. So I was shocked at first, but looking back on the series, you could see he was right there at my pitches. He was staying aggressive, and the pitch I threw was a pretty good pitch, but he made a really good swing on it. And he is a talented wiffle ball player. Obviously, like when Sailor takes me deep or when Kyle takes me deep, it's a little bit more expected, but it's not much different for me.
Okay.
So we'll get to the walk-off that you had in game 3, but I wanted to ask, in the 3rd inning, things kind of got away from you a little bit, and they were able to tie the game. Would you, going back to the training and the fatigue and the stamina, were you getting a little bit worn down there at all was that kind of the reason for letting some base runners on and those walks starting to creep in, or were they just kind of like dialing in a little bit more at the plate?
I like to think it wasn't anything to do stamina fatigue wise, but it probably had a factor into it. But as the series goes on, and I'm now I think it was like technically my 10th or 11th inning against them. I've given them pretty much everything I've got. So, I kind of have to start trying to paint more corners, trying to, play around a little bit more. And when you try and be more, you try to paint, that's when you throw more balls. And that's just kind of how it is. But I think fatigue definitely had a factor into it. I mean, I know it's a wiffle ball and it's only 40 feet away, but I mean, it's still, probably my 150th pitch of the day.
All right, now to the walk-off. When you're in extra innings, winner take all game, just candidly speaking, are you going up there like, I got to go yard here? Or are you just trying to put it in play, get on base?
Never, no. Yeah, I've actually, my approach has never been to hit the ball over the fence.
Okay, interesting.
My approach has always kind of been to hit ground balls up the middle. But I don't know.
I see your swing. I kind of disagree with that, but okay, I'll trust you.
In my mind, that's what's going on.
Okay.
In that moment, coming up to the plate, I just kind of felt something different.
Felt it.
JP had been starting me with drop balls very frequently, and I knew in that spot, which I've seen a lot of people talking about whether or not they should have walked me or not, but I knew in that spot everything was a little bit different. He was going to try something different, and I know that he's comfortable throwing a riser, and he'd been throwing it to my other guys, so I kind of knew it was coming in a sense. And so in his motion, I can see his grip a little bit. I saw that grip, and I kind of knew it was right there. So in that, coming up to the plate, no, I was not at all trying to do that. But as soon as I saw that happening, then yes, I was ready to try and hit it over the fence.
Okay,
that's interesting. So is that the first pitch?
I don't know, Ryan.
I think so.
First pitch of the at bat.
Yeah, it was the first pitch of the at bat. Yeah.
Are your then celebratory remarks and screams and flips? Is that pre-planned or is that just from the heart?
No, that just happens. I honestly don't know what I said.
I don't know.
I was trying to listen to what I was saying, but I couldn't really make it out. But yeah, I think I said something like "Take me to Atlanta" or something like that. I don't remember what it was.
Hey, don't get ahead of yourself now.
I know. It's a hype thing. You get it.
I get it.
I think it was something along the lines of like, "I do this. Watch me do this. I do this."
Yeah, I don't know. I could have.
Oh dear.
So yeah, leading into our series coming up here, Ryan. I mean, let's just call a spade here. It wasn't the Predators' finest series the first time we met. So how do you guys plan to get up, that being the Predators, for that series coming up?
I mean, we just got to kind of rework everything that we had. First time we played against you guys, we were kind of waiting for RJ to throw strikes. We were kind of, thinking, he's too young to be out there. He's too young to, go out there and be consistent. So we were kind of playing to that, and playing to that just hurt us really bad. We found ourselves in 0-2 counts, 1-2 counts all day, no offense at all. And I mean, that's kind of what we can't do that this time. So I think our approach is going to be much more aggressive. I'll give you that, Jack. You can know that going into the series. But
yeah, I mean, I expected as much.
Yeah. Other than that, I feel pretty comfortable facing most of those guys in the lineup, especially you, Jack. So, it's just staying true.
Oh, some fighting words there. I don't know.
It's always fun going up against you, Ryan. I've watched.
Oh yeah. I mean, kill him with kindness. I like it.
This is
psychological warfare you're seeing right now, from man to man via TV, via Zoom.
Right.
That's right. I mean, I've definitely grown up in this league, like all of us have. But you were in this league well before I was, and so I've watched you grow up through this league too. And it's always a pleasure going up against you. So
yeah, no, I love playing against you, especially as a former teammate.
Just a couple gentlemen squaring off.
Yeah,
on a fall Sunday. But all right, Ryan. Well, let's get into the comment of the week here, and I actually want to ask you about this specifically. But this week's comment of the week I selected is from Bird Gang 6, and he says, "I've been a full-time fan for 3 years, and I think this is probably the greatest series I've ever watched. 3 straight walk-offs. Ryan, was this the greatest series that you can recall in MLW, or at least in your own personal career?"
I do think it was, personally, at least that I've played in. there's been a lot of really good series in MLW, and it kind of always works out like that. I'm sure you guys have noticed it too, that like, the way sports work out is where something like that will happen where, like a game 1 walk-off or a game 2 walk-off, especially in wiffle ball, it happens a lot more than baseball. So, but as far as that goes, I think this one, and I think it was like the 2020 ALCS, maybe when
Also
we played
the
the
Wildcats.
Wildcats. Yeah, and they beat us.
Kyle references that one all the time.
Yeah.
I wasn't there for that one.
Series. I mean, this was definitely my favorite series in that category, especially, because we won.
Fair. I like I said, I think it's definitely in the conversation.
Has to be.
I said especially for postseason series, it's got to be in the conversation. And there was never been a 3 walk-off home run series before either in the postseason. So,
I mean, we've been pretty spoiled thus far with the first 2 postseason series. They've been great series.
The upset of the decade in wiffle ball, and then a 3 straight walk-off home run series.
I mean, I don't think very many people picked the Wildcats in that series, so I don't think it was like a surprise from the result, but just how competitive it was
definitely
very, very impressive.
Definitely.
Very fun to watch.
Yeah, so far, me, Jack, and Jimmy all went D-backs, all got that wrong. We all did go Pred, so we fixed our...
Yeah, we're there.
We're 1-1, but I'm pretty happy with my predictions. I think that it was more competitive than most people thought it would be, but at the end of the day, the Preds prevailed, and I'm excited to see this Preds Magic matchup. I don't really know what to expect. I don't remember what I said in that last pod a couple weeks ago there, but I think this one could go a lot of different ways. I do say the Preds are a mental team. I don't think they're very mentally strong against the Magic. That's what I said. I said I don't think they're mentally strong against the Magic, therefore I picked you guys. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. Ryan, you're playing some of the best wiffle ball I've seen right now. Probably one of the hottest players besides Robles. You two are on fire, so wish you the best of luck. You and your Muzzy, whether the Muzzy's there or not. I hope for some good whiffs. We can't complain when it's good whiffs. That's what I'm hoping for.
Right, exactly.
You guys chomping at the bit, ready to go?
I'm slobbering. I'm drooling.
Were you okay? What was the feedback from the team when they heard it was Preds and not Cats coming out?
We wanted the Preds.
Okay,
we wanted the Preds. I mean, Jackson made a comment that
Jackson Pearson or Liam Jackson.
Jackson Pearson made a comment at the end of the video that he felt that the Wildcats were still the best team in the AL, which is funny because I feel like if you asked maybe any of the teams other than the Cobras who didn't make the playoffs, they'd probably say that about their team. So we were happy that we drew the Preds. It was obviously an I don't know if easier is the right word, but it wasn't as competitive of a series for us against the Preds as it was the Wildcats. I don't really think that we necessarily match up better against the Preds or the Wildcats too much, but I don't think we got the Preds' best effort that day or just best performance that day. So we wanted them again.
Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, guys, 2 weeks from last Friday, so it'll be the 27th of October is that ALCS, 2 days prior to the World Series in Atlanta. So that'll tell you guys the matchup, and thank you guys so much for buying tickets to that already. If you have not, the link is in the description below to go to Atlanta. One of these 2 guys will be there, whether it's Ryan, whether it's Jack, and I got a 50-50 shot as well. That'll be this Friday, the NLCS. So best time of the year for wiffle ball. And I hope you guys are enjoying it every step of the way along with us. So without further ado, Jimmy Norp loves biscuits and gravy in the morning. We will see you all next Tuesday.
I mean, it's absolutely unreal that you didn't say anything to me, Tom.
Wait, well, you weren't in the call yet, technically.
You were 15 minutes from me this weekend.
Oh, honestly, dude, I don't even know where Alma is.
Don't even.
I don't even know where Alma is in the map, dude. I don't even know.
You drove through Alma to get there.
I don't even know where Alma is on the map.
That wasn't meant to be an insult. I'm just saying I don't know
Nobody knows
where you are.
That's what I'm
I thought you
were
down I thought you were down here, to be honest.
No, I'm right under Mount Pleasant.
Okay, well, good to know. For the next time I never go back there.